who has adopted, has fostered, and birthed children. So, Judy. The first question is, Judy, if you could take a journey back in your mind and think back to why you chose adoption.
Well, I love it. I love to talk about this because it's such a big and important part of my life. You know, it started really young with me. I was really just a little girl. Had very deep love for babies. And I remember I used to play with my dolls, and they were the orphans, and I was the missionary. I had seen a film at my church, and it was about missionaries working in an orphanage. And even though I was young, I remember just sitting there and crying through that whole film. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do when I grow up. I walked out of the service and I said to my friends, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm going to be a missionary, and I'm going to take care of the orphans. And then this missionary couple came to our church, and they had adopted a baby from an Indian tribe in Mexico. And I can still see and picture that little baby boy. He was dark-skinned, and he had pitch black hair that stood straight up. And I quietly followed them. They knew people in the congregation, so after church they were walking around and visiting with different people. And I just quietly followed them around, and I couldn't take my eyes off of that baby. And I thought, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adopt babies. I'll adopt babies from other countries, whatever. And the Lord planted that seed in my heart as a child. And I just want to say that I really do believe that there are children in this church, that God is already, He has a plan. He's always known the plan for each one of us. And that you listen to your kids and see where their hearts go. And I believe that there are kids that are already, God has planted a seed and has prepared their hearts. So then I had to wait. I had to wait for God's timing. And waiting is always hard, even as this lady was saying. But there were times when I really wanted to move forward and start an adoption process, but I would feel a check from the Lord. This isn't the time. And so I had to wait, and I had to wait a long time. And then I was getting ready to go to Israel. It was going to be my first missionary journey. And the last thing I was thinking was, I'm going to go to Israel and adopt a baby. That wasn't what I was thinking, but when I got there in Jerusalem, it was like the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, now. And it was really and truly a miracle, because I found out and went to the welfare office on the Jewish side of Jerusalem, that they don't adopt babies out to anybody but citizens of Israel. But I knew that I felt a release from the Lord. So it didn't really set me back too much. But this little Jewish social worker said, come back next month. I will speak with the judge, and I will give you an answer. even though she had just told us that they don't place except for citizens. I walked out of there and I said, oh, I know we have a baby coming. I just know it. And she said, you might have 2 or 3 years to wait before a baby would come up, because we don't cross religious lines in adoption. So they only recognize Jewish, Muslim, and Christian. And there are Christians there, because a lot of the Arabs are Christian, and then some are Muslim, but they don't ever cross those religious lines. And so you might have 2 or 3 years to wait. We said, okay. And when I walked out of there, I said, no, we have to hurry. We have to get ready, because I just really know that there's a baby coming. So, didn't hear anything more for a long time, not real long actually. It was literally just a few months. And we had gone to a conference. We were living and working at the Anglican school in Jerusalem. Had gone to a conference, and during that conference, it was like I suddenly went into labor. And I remember walking up and down these halls, and I was just beside myself. Hadn't heard a thing, and I was crying a lot. It was like, literally, like I was in labor. And I couldn't let it go, and I just thought, oh, I've got to get back to Jerusalem. We were there the weekend, and we came back on a Sunday night, and I heard the phone ringing upstairs. And I had to go up these big flights of stairs to get to my apartment, and it was the social worker. And she said, I have a baby boy. And I started asking questions. Is it an Arab baby? Is it, She said, the mother is a beautiful, sweet, South American girl. The baby was 2 weeks old. And she said, don't ask questions. Just come into my office tomorrow and I will tell you all about it. And I was really beside myself. We went in the next day, and she told us there was a baby boy that was born in Tel Aviv, and that the mother was South American, and she didn't give me any more information. We had to put pieces of a puzzle together to realize that because they don't cross religious lines in adoption, she did not want us to know that the father was Israeli. Yes, I need a drink of water when I get nervous and my mouth is dry. So she didn't, give us much information. But she said, you go to Tel Aviv and you see the baby, and if you feel it's right, then you can take him. But if you're not sure, you can take your time. And I thought, this baby could have 2 heads, and I would know it was mine because I had been in labor. So anyway, it was very exciting. We picked up our baby boy. We named him Daniel. He happens to be here with me this morning. And so, it was just, I remember we got back to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv just in time to take him to our son's class at the Anglican school and do a show in town. So my son was so excited, he wanted to show his new baby brother off. So that was fun. But I just can't tell you the thrill that I felt. And I can't really explain this except that when they first put him in my arms, felt like that they handed me a regal child. There was just something so regal, royal to me about him. And so that was our first adoption. And very, very